And is there anyone else? Is it just me that every time somebody says hotel, motel, I want to say Holiday Inn?
So if you don't have t-shirts of your celebrity crushes, what are you doing? What are you doing with your lives?
I will say my general rule with horror is as long as it stays more interesting than disgusting, I'm okay with it. And it walked that line very precisely towards the end.
Actually, I think the first rule of Fright Club is you show up. So thank you.
Yay!
Thank you. We are back. Our home away from home, Gateway Film Center. Welcome. Come on in. Gateway Film Center in Columbus, Ohio. And she is Hope Madden.
He's George Wolf.
And we are from madwolf.com. Hosts of Fright Club. And we thank you for coming out as we're going to talk about killer crushes. And hey, we're going to get personal because we're going to reveal our celebrity crushes.
Yes, we are. We're going to do that. But before we do that, first of all, I want to thank a bunch of people who came today. I want to thank Richard, who passed out these quizzes, and he also gave us this lovely Wolfman art. Thank you very much. And the number one thing that I've learned from these quizzes is that we need to watch Session 9. Not enough people have seen Session 9. I promise you, I'm going to get in touch with Chris tomorrow and see how quickly we can add that to this rotation.
The quizzes were from, I think we posted that on our Fright Club podcast group on Facebook.
We did.
Hint, hint.
Right.
Join it.
That's right.
And so people were marking off the horror films they've seen and not seen. And so right now, Session 9, it has a big gaping hole. We need to show it. So that could be on the list.
And I also want to thank Monty for this other beautiful fan art from our movie. So that is awesome. And
that's Sad Clown.
It's so great. This
from
is Sad
Obstacle
Clown
Corps.
from Obstacle Corps. Isn't that beautiful?
That is a great job.
I
In
love
fact,
that.
and Monty, she took the picture of it earlier at happy hour, and she texted it to Tony, the actor who
Tony
plays
White, and he loves
said
it.
he
He's
loves
very
it.
happy. He's
he
so
loves
happy.
it. So well done. so well done. Glad you're here. Last time we want to say thanks. The studio version of Fright Club was last time out, and we had our buddy Jamie Ray from Fave 5 from Fans podcast as we talked about frightful hotels and motels.
Yeah, which was, it was his topic. He's so good at that. He always comes up with some great topics. We didn't just talk about the movies themselves. We chose the actual hotels or motels that were the creepiest and the coolest. And it was a lot of fun, as it always is. He's great. And his podcast, Fave 5 from Fans, it's not specifically horror. It's all over the place, but it's always a fun listen. We listened to this great Simpsons one.
Oh, yeah. And is there anyone else? Is it just me that every time somebody says hotel, motel, I want to say Holiday Inn? Is it? Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I don't. So I'm glad you do.
No, that was fun, Jamie. Thank you so much.
And we've had two comments. Ben, actually, before he even listened to it, our friend Ben from Tiffin is my hometown. He wanted Vacancy to be on there. And it's not on there, but I remember I was on a podcast a few years ago, and that's what they did with just motels specifically. And I rewatched that thinking I didn't care for it. And I actually do. It's a very nasty, bare bones little movie.
Where was I when you were on this podcast?
I don't know. They didn't have you on. Sorry.
Wow. Denied.
I was stepping out. And then Seth, who always keeps us honest, he pointed out how cool, Europa Hotel was in Don't Look Now. That is a great one. Sorry.
Yeah, Don't Look Now.
Yeah.
So, tonight we're talking about killer crushes, and actually we're going to show one tonight that has a common title, because every time I've mentioned it a few times to a few people this week, and they go, "Oh, the one with," I'm like, "No, this is a different one."
So it was actually this movie came out in 1982, and the one we're going to show in 1981. There was a movie called The Fan with Lauren Bacall, and then in the 90s, Fred Durst directed a movie called The Fan with The Fanatic with John Travolta. Somewhere in the middle there was a De Niro Snipe.
Yep.
The Fan, and then of course let's not forget Swim Fan.
Yeah. That's right. Swim Fan fans? Okay. None of that.
No.
None of that is the one tonight.
No.
Tonight is from 1982. It's Der Fan, The Fan.
You know what? I can't even take credit for this, but this was Chris Hamill, who he's also the president of the Gateway Film Center, and he messaged me. He goes, "Any chance you'd be interested in showing Der Fan?" Which you can't get. It's not streaming. I don't know when the last time it was streaming. You have to buy a $25 DVD or Blu-ray if you want to watch it. So I was like, oh my God, yes. So I'm very excited.
Has anybody here seen it already? Okay, Brandon. That's it.
Just
yeah, and I know most people. I was talking to Maddie. You've been looking forward to seeing this for a long time. So I know a lot of people
have. It's super fun. It spoke to me because not in 1982, but I mean not that much later. I was a massive Eurotrash, huge, obsessive fan of mainly British, but still the same kind of bands. And I totally would have done what she wound up doing in the end. So anyway, it spoke to me.
Oh, good.
Yeah. To John Taylor of Duran Duran. That's who it would have happened
Oh, you're
to.
giving one away now.
I know it.
You're giving one away. Okay, well, we've got a great list of 5 killer crushes, and we're going to be spilling our own beans as we count them down. So you want to start at number 5, or what are we doing?
Well, first we're gonna talk about our crush, number 5, our number 5 crush, and then we'll talk about the number 5 movie.
Okay.
Okay, so we start with my number 5 crush.
See, that shocks me. I thought that was going to be number 1.
See, that's the thing. He doesn't even pay attention. But the thing is, how can you not? There was some actual battle for the number 5 spot because Springsteen made a good. But I'm like, you know what? But you're 73 now. Like, I feel bad to kick him to the curb. But yeah, Chris Hemsworth made my number 5. And your number 5 was a surprise to me.
Selena Gomez.
He told me this at Burns last week, and I'm like, what?
She got me with Only Murders in the Building.
Yeah.
I love that show, and she's so cute. She's just cute. And I actually watched that her documentary on Apple TV.
When did that happen?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm learning so many new things.
Seriously, not for that. I mean, it's one of those movies where if you ever thought, hey, I want to be famous, no, you don't. It's one of those that drives it home. But yeah, look at her. She's cute as a buck.
She is cute as a buck.
All right, that's our number 5.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're moving up to the number 5 movie on Killer Crushes. This is from 2015. We've talked about this before. An aspiring filmmaker goes to shocking extremes to convince Hollywood actress Anne Hathaway to star in his film. It's Be My Cat, a film for Anne.
Hello, Anne. My name is Adrian. I'm from Romania, and I want to make a movie with you. This is a film I'm making right now to convince you to come here and make that movie with me. I even convinced 3 Romanian actresses to play in this film to show you how I'm gonna work with you. I will change the world with you, Anne. Don't make me cut you.
You're a psychopath.
You have 20 seconds to give me one last word, and then I will close the camera.
She should not work with him. George and I are both judges for the Nightmares Film Festival, which is the greatest thing ever. And the year this movie came out, so we're the thriller leads, and we sort of go through all of the everybody who submits. And we'd already turned in our list because this movie he submitted this movie so late, and I was like, oh my God, there's another one, and I watched it, and I just texted everybody, hold the phone. We have to show this movie. It's the weirdest, most effective, nuttiest, most amazing movie. And the thing is, I mean, the whole time I'm just like, I couldn't look away. I was so compelled by everything that happened. And the kicker is that he ends it perfectly. The end of this movie, I kept wondering, it's like you've painted yourself in a corner. What are you going to do with this? The end of this movie is so spectacular. I really, really, it's such a weird movie, but I highly recommend it.
Yeah, it is so creepy as it goes along. The writer-director is Adrian Toffe. The times when he speaks to the camera and the things he's doing get more and more psychotic, and he just keeps explaining it away because it's not him. He's playing a character. No, it's not me doing this. It's the character. I'm like, dude, it's so creepy because you believe him.
And he's talking directly to Anne Hathaway the entire film, which is so fascinating. And he'll be like, I'll be right back. Just stay right there. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. And just like, it's just your camera that you're talking to. And he's so convincing. And it's incredibly creepy. And I love that, dogs and boys, they're all bullies.
Yeah.
He's just great. It's a great movie.
Yeah, and apparently all the movie was made up of first takes. This went first takes every time. And I give credit to those actresses, too.
Yes, they're great.
Yeah, it looks so authentic when their feelings turn to fear. Yeah. And then I'm with you on the ending, how she turns tables there. But it's just really, really creepy and really psychotic. And I really wonder what Anne Hathaway thought about it. And that is number 5 on our list of killer crushes.
So who is my number 4?
Cat.
My number 4, big, like you guys care.
Film for Anne. Number 4?
Right? Not a man, woman, or child alive does not have a crush on Idris Elba.
Idris
That's
Elba.
my theory.
That got quite a reaction. Maybe that should have been higher. Okay, that's your number 4.
It is.
Okay, my number 4, Elizabeth Olsen. Huh? Yeah?
She is very pretty.
We're getting a golf clap over here from the gallery. Okay, number 4 on our list of films. This goes way back, and this is a classic. A mad, disfigured composer seeks love with a lovely young opera singer, the Phantom of the Opera. I think it was just yesterday. It wasn't yesterday Opera Day, National Opera Day?
Or
and so
2 days ago.
If you follow Fright Club Pod on Twitter, that was our fright of the day, that reveal of the face. I mean, that's still creepy today. Can you
really
imagine back in the day? Because, the legend goes they kept that a secret. Lon Chaney's makeup that he did himself, they kept that under wraps until the reveal. And I bet people just lost their shit.
Oh, I bet they did, because it is. You're right. It is still, especially when you realize, when you think about how they did it, how it was done, which was, obviously nothing digital. Yeah, it's an amazing effect. There are like 95 different Phantoms of the Opera, of course, and I chose this one because no one sings.
Always throwing shade at the musicals.
I know. But it is it's a great story, and this is a great version of it. And not every silent film, I think, stands up, right? The evolution of film has made it so that often silent films just seem quaint. But I actually revisited this a couple of years ago because we talked about this on a silent film, one that we did with Phantom Dark Dave, and this was on that, of course. And it's just great. It continues to be a great version of the story.
And the story also goes that actress Mary Philbin also didn't know, had not seen the final effect, the final makeup until the end, and her reaction is authentic as well. And it's just, man, it does hold up. I mean, you could probably watch it even without the story cards.
Oh, sure.
And follow
for sure.
along. It's so effective that way,
it is.
and it's so beautifully done. And going back to 1925, I can't imagine the audiences then. In fact, Gregory Peck said his earliest memory was of being so scared by that movie that his grandmother allowed him to sleep in her bed that night because he was so scared when he was a young boy seeing that. Yeah, I can only imagine. Oh, yeah. Because it still holds up. And actually, the Phantom's bed was used again in Sunset Boulevard, and Gloria Swanson's Sunset Boulevard. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, amazing.
That's a nice piece of trivia.
Yeah,
right there,
an incredible work from 1925, The Phantom of the Opera. Number 4 on our list, so that moves it up to number 3.
So number 3.
See, that's the thing. You put these slides together. I don't even know your list. You knew mine. I didn't know your list.
You had to tell me what your list was.
I know. So this is all surprise to me.
Okay, so the important point is that 3, 2, and 1 I have a T-shirt of. So if you don't have T-shirts of your celebrity crushes, what are you doing? What are you doing with your lives? So it's Rutger Hauer, generally speaking, but in particular, it's Roy, because when I was a kid, I have 3 sisters. We were all big Harrison Ford fans because, of course, we were. And we used to go to my oldest sister's house because she was the only one with a VCR, and we would rent Harrison Ford movies. And when I was a little kid, we rented Blade Runner, and he showed up, and I go, "You can have Harrison Ford. I want this one." And I stand by that.
What about Hobo with a Shotgun, Rutger Hauer?
You know what? And here's another one. Do you remember when we went to see Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie? So Rutger Hauer and Paul Rubens, Pee Wee Herman, in the same movie together as vampires. I'm like, oh my God, this is the greatest movie I've ever seen.
She had a moment.
I had a moment.
All right, that's your number 3. My number 3, hell yeah. Halle Berry, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
No, I'll give you Halle Berry.
All right, so back to the movies. Number 3, this is the one we're going to see tonight. The hero worship that Simone has for a pop singer is built to a crescendo until she passes out when she finally sees him up close in a crowd of fans. It's The Fan.
Und wenn du alles hast, dann
Ich höre seine letzte Platte.
wirst du dir lassen.
Sie ist wunderschön. Schöner, als man es sich erträumen kann. Jedes Lied ist wie für mich geschrieben.
Well, that's a good example of one of my least favorite genres of music right there, I'll tell you that.
As usual, we're not going to talk very much about it. First of all, because so few of you have seen it, but also because we try not to. But a couple of fun facts about this. The filmmaker started off as a film critic.
What?
So I know. So I like that about him.
Yeah.
And then the rock star in the movie was a rock star in real life. But other than that, I think we should probably keep everything to ourselves.
And so the writer-director is?
Eckhart Schmidt, who
Eckhart
is the film
Schmidt.
critic as well. Yeah.
Yeah, but we certainly want your reactions after the film is over. Please come down and let's talk about it and get you on the podcast, especially when so many people have not seen it. 92 minutes later.
I have two things to say. Number one, no better way to get rid of a dead body. Number two, we're going to a casserole party tomorrow.
It's so funny that, she was so in love with this guy who he had zero charisma to use a Dungeons and Dragons?
So unlike George, I love this music.
I know that you do.
Yeah, I'm a huge British new wave synth pop thing. So I think that helped carry me through the slow burn a little bit more than it would if I didn't like the music. So I'm curious if that's why some people here aren't a big fan of it. That music carried me through the slow burn part of it. Also, it got bonkers at the end that I was not expecting. So
I had so many thoughts going through my head, like during this, like how much of this was in her head or how much of this was like real or in her imagination. And then like as it progressed, I'm like, oh, this is actually happening.
That's awesome because I remember thinking the same thing. Like because there's a dream-like sort of atmosphere about it, and then when like the carving knife comes out, you're like, no, I'm pretty sure this is for real.
Yeah, that's definitely what I felt. Yeah.
I just wondered if anyone else noticed there was a really subtle thing that happened earlier in the movie. The scene where she's talking to the mailman, like when she freaks out and dumps the bag out. When you see his face, he has this really florid pink mark on the side of his mouth. Yeah, and so I'm like, oh, did he make her like kiss him or something before he would even let her? And it really foreshadows like just how men are like just using her as a sexual object repeatedly, and because she's so young, like she just has no.
And then the guy that she hitchhikes with too, the same thing, yeah.
That scene like really got to me because I remembered when I was that age, like experiencing that where you're just talking to a guy and you think he's being nice, and then all of a sudden he just says something and you're just like, oh, this interaction is colored a completely different way that I was not ready for or prepared for. Yeah.
I really like this movie. I'll start by saying my celebrity crush.
Oh, please do.
I feel like that's part of the theme now. I saw Benjamin Button yesterday, so I'll say that Cate Blanchett is my current celebrity crush.
Big call.
Yeah, this was such a great movie. I really like this theme. I'll say some honorable mentions for me. I really like Poser. I thought Poser should have been one of those obsessions. Another celebrity crush, Sylvie Mix.
Good call.
And did she really love him? I just think philosophically that's what's so disturbing to me. Like, did she really love him? That's wild. I'll leave it at that.
Okay, I slightly agree with Derek because I love synth pop too, but they kept playing the same songs over and over. But I'm questioning, is that supposed to be like her like kind of craziness? Was that supposed to be us kind of experiencing like what was going through her head, like only listening to that music and kind of getting like kind of weird about it? Because I was like, turn this off. But is that like what was going through her head? Is that what that was supposed to be?
That was my thought. I mean, my thought is that she just would listen to the same one album, the same one song repeatedly, and it would drive her completely insane. Like when we watched the movie today with Reese Witherspoon, and I used to be a Cars fan until I watched this movie and had to hear the same Cars songs 300 times.
The new one on Netflix with Ashton Kutcher and Reese Witherspoon, Your Place or Mine, terrible. Just terrible.
Not good.
I would like to shout out German engineering because I grew up with those turkey carvers, and ours could barely carve a turkey. That's all I got.
Very good point.
It's true.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was beautifully shot. The soundtrack did work for me. I will say I won't pretend I knew where the second and third act of that was going. I just let it wash over me. But the reason I was hooked was that first act. If you've seen Out of the Blue, Dennis Hopper's maybe the thing he directed, third movie maybe, just a troubled girl glued to music. Obviously, just check that movie out. There were actually a lot of shots I thought that paralleled that as well. So if you thought the first act of that movie was really good, check out Dennis Hopper's Out of the Blue.
Nice callback. Was there a sketchy mailman with lipstick all over his face?
I have 2 degrees in German, and it has all culminated in me being able to tell you that the song that he's singing, is about like your eyes, your gaze. So it's really funny that he ends up in hers at the end of the movie.
Nice. That's great. That's a great take. Yeah, the note at the end. They didn't give subtitles for that.
The note at the end says the same thing that it did at the beginning. The whole thing is about repetition, the same songs, and it says that I know that I love you and that you love me. And then she begins to repeat it again as the phone rings, and that stops the cycle.
R
Thank
for
you very
repetition.
much.
Our people are so smart.
They're so much smarter than us.
And we appreciate it.
When she pulled out the carving knife, I had a nightmare like that when I was like 6. You know the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie where he battles a wrestler named Bonesaw?
Yes.
I saw just that part of the movie on TV when I was a kid, and I went away with completely the wrong idea about what happened next.
Aww.
I will say my general rule with horror is as long as it stays more interesting than disgusting, I'm okay with it. And it walked that line very precisely towards the end. Yeah, another thing with horror films is I've found that a lot of horror films, they keep the stakes the same the whole way. Like a slasher film, it's someone dies, nothing happens, someone dies, nothing happens. It doesn't escalate. And the only other horror movie I've seen that escalated this much, it escalated in a completely different way, but the movie The Reanimator.
Sure.
That's the only other movie I can think of that gets that extreme by the end and keeps raising the stakes and getting more disturbing.
Man, that's some good takes. I love this.
Thank you very much.
So that is number 3, and we will move on to number 2. It's the second best celebrity crushes. Oh, look how dreamy.
So that's John Taylor, the bass player from Duran Duran, for all of you who are not 100 years old. And there is like not a human being who had made a bigger impression on my formative years. Not one on earth, just him.
I think the first time I went when we were first dating, the first time I went home with her to her father's house, her childhood home, and up in her bedroom, she still had posters of him all over the wall, and it's freaky, it's a little freaky. They may still be there. Somebody else owns the house, and they still may be there. But that's number 2. And this T-shirt that she's wearing, if you didn't see, is the biggest moment in her life when she got to meet Duran Duran. And unfortunately, and the one thing that she tells when she tells that story is that he's the one of them that didn't talk to her, which makes me mad that I wasn't there. I got her the passes to go, but I could only get one, so I couldn't go, which is fine, except I would have said, dude, talk to her. Go talk to this woman.
As far as I know, he has a restraining order. I don't know, and I wouldn't blame him. But Simon Le Bon was very nice to me. So
that's your number 2. And my number 2 here has sound. Is that correct?
Yes.
Listen to this.
Hey, George Wolf, it is Katy Perry. I just wanted to wish you the happiest birthday. Love ya.
She loves me.
She does.
Thank you. I haven't met her, but I got but I got the birthday message from Katie. So that moves us up to number 2, and this is a good one from 2012, and this is from a filmmaker who's back in the news right now for a brand new movie. In a blackly satirical near future, a thriving industry sells celebrity illnesses to their obsessed fans. This is Antiviral.
Do you not agree that the mania surrounding celebrity is reaching an unhealthy level?
No, I don't. My clients want to feel more connected to those people that they see in the magazines and on television.
Enjoy. So far, I've had all her diseases. Must have been expensive. Is there any way you could spread it?
Have you started bleeding yet?
Bleeding?
From your mouth.
You've become involved in something sinister. It's a weird business, Sid.
And if you're thinking, like I was thinking, hey, that would be a good one to show, we've tried.
We'll continue to try, but
Yeah.
that's a movie that we've been trying to get for a while and haven't gotten a chance to. And it's Brandon Cronenberg's first movie. Oh my God! And I remember watching it, going, "Oh, apple doesn't fall very far from the tree." This is such a Cronenberg movie. And it's so, and Caleb Landry Jones, who is spectacular in every single thing he's ever done. He's so perfect in this movie, which is it's a futuristic film where what they do is collect viruses and illnesses from celebrities and sell them to people, because we're so obsessed with celebrity that we want to have like the same germs and illnesses that celebrities have.
Yeah.
And then the technology gets to the point where there's a meat farm. You know what? We're going to show it sometime. I'm not going to tell you about it. But I think
it's fascinating.
It's fascinating. And what I love about the trailer, actually, this trailer, is does such a great job of showing how well they combine these beautiful, stark, really glamorous images with the nastiest body horror with like that hypodermic.
Oh,
my
yeah.
God. It's so great. This movie is so great.
The close-ups
Yeah.
of the needle and the blood draws, and then the sores around the mouth, and it is fascinating.
Yes.
And of course, he's out right now with Infinity Pool.
Yeah.
But
Who
this,
has seen it? Infinity Pool.
Infinity Pool? Yeah. Like it? Yeah. Loved it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we liked it,
You're right.
yeah,
When
I
I
loved
remember
it.
seeing this, and exactly like yeah, he's a Cronenberg. I mean, holy shit, the body horror in this. But at the base of it, at the core of it, is I think a fantastic idea.
Oh, absolutely.
Even when you think it's back when 2012, 2013, and those themes that have only gotten more pronounced now.
yeah, absolutely.
It'd be really interesting and fascinating to show again. So hopefully we'll keep on that. And hopefully that could be a future Fight Club. You
I
never know.
suppose it could be. I
So-
mean, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just flipped y'all off. I didn't mean to. It was like just force of habit. Sorry.
Oh, so that's number 2, antiviral on our killer crushes. So, that takes us to who's it gonna be? I don't even know. Who is your number
That is
one?
a lie. You don't
I don't know. When John Taylor has it on. Oh, Tom Hardy. Tom
right.
Hardy.
That's
yeah?
right.
Get some agreement there?
Yeah.
See, I would have said John Taylor was number 1 for sure.
Yeah.
But I guess I don't know you. All right, my number 1, Joe Montana, baby. For those of you that don't know, even though I grew up mainly in Ohio, I've been a San Francisco 49er fan since I was a little kid, and they sucked. And they didn't suck when he came along. And so yeah, Joe Montana
And
is
I
my
stole
man.
that obviously with the Getty Images, but I wanted I wanted him to be doing that with the number 1.
So don't talk to me about no Tom Brady. This is the GOAT right here, Joe Montana. Number 1. Okay, so number 1 on our list of killer crushes. You probably guessed. After a famous author is rescued from a car crash by a fan of his novels, he comes to realize that the care he's receiving is only the beginning. Misery.
Guess it was kind of a miracle you finding me.
In a way, I was following you. Seeing as how I'm your number 1 fan and all, I've read everything of yours.
You're very kind.
I noticed in your case there's a new Paul Sheldon book.
You want to read it?
You'll never realize what a rare treat you've given me. You dirty bird. Misery Chastain cannot be dead.
Misery Spirit is still alive.
You murdered her!
God's sake.
It's for the best.
Hey, please!
God, I love you.
Misery. Yeah, this is from 1990, the same year that 2 crazy kids who were working in the same restaurant started dating, and the first movie they ever went to was Misery.
Yeah.
And
And you know what? I think for other couples that might not be a great choice, but it's worked out well for us.
kind of set the tone. That hobbling really turns me on. I don't know about you. So this, even today, I think when you list the best movie adaptations of Stephen King works, I mean, my God, this is one of the best
It is, and the thing is that Kathy Bates had been knocking around Hollywood for years and years. None of us knew who she was till we knew her after this.
Oscar winner.
She was perfect. She was so perfect as Annie Wilkes.
One of the rare Oscar wins in a horror movie.
Yes, absolutely. And who else? I mean, anybody else, it would have just been a crime to have taken that from her. She was so great. And James Caan, the two of them together. And the other thing is that they had this adorable Twitter relationship for the next 150 years. And they were so cute on Twitter. And he was always very cute on Twitter. And I've missed him, James Caan, since he died on Twitter. But the two of them together were just absolutely pitch perfect in this movie.
Now, what I didn't know, because we don't watch TV or series, but apparently the show Castle Rock, you watched Castle Rock? Apparently, is this true? Season 2 was a prequel to Misery?
Wait, for which character?
For the Annie Wilkes character. Is that correct? That sounds like a fantastic idea. We had no idea because we watch so many movies, we can't watch TV, but we have to look that up.
We saw Taboo, tell you that.
Tom Hardy reference.
Yeah.
She just dropped it there. I'll pick it up for you. Thank you. Yeah, but it's so great, and the performances drive it. And when you consider how much of it really is in one room, I mean, James Caan's performance, he's pretty much just bedridden almost the entire time. And his desperation as he slowly realizes what he's up against is fascinating as she gets more and more crazy and just keeps saying, well, even as the hobbling, that she loves him.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He's a cockadoodie or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The two of them are absolutely perfect. It's such a great movie. It's a great movie on a lot of levels. It's a great, claustrophobic sort of isolation film.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as obviously, as crushes, as big fans go, that's the best one.
Yeah, and it's got that great scene. It's not really a jump scare, but it kind of is with Richard Farnsworth at the top of the stairs.
Richard
I mean, you probably had an
Farnsworth.
idea that was going to happen, but man, that is a gut punch
It
when he
is.
gets it there. But yeah, it's a great movie, and it still holds up. And I think one of the things, too, because depending on what you read, a lot of different bigger name actresses were considered for Annie Wilkes, but it's so great that she was a virtual unknown at the time. I think that just hammered it home because people didn't know anything about her.
Right.
This woman, she's crazy.
Yeah. I think there were a lot of different people who were also up for
Everybody.
his role.
Yeah, apparently everybody either was considered or just outright turned it down.
And he's an interesting choice because he had not really done anything for a few years.
Mhm.
And it's not, you think to yourself, James Caan's going to kick your ass. Like, he's not the guy that you expect to be hobbled by a movie. So it was a great, I think, sort of resurgence.
Well,
for him.
depending on what you read, a lot of the big name stars at the time didn't like it because he's pretty much emasculated by her, and she has the power. And again, depending true or not, they didn't like that. Yeah, babies. But a fantastic movie and a great example of killer crushes, and that is our number one on our list as we have to get to our movie, The Fan from 1982. So please come on down afterwards. We'd love to get your opinions on it. We'll get you on the podcast. So we're looking ahead to next time or next month here at Fright Club Live.
Yes. So a couple of things. The very next podcast is going to be our Skeletons in the Closet, our yearly Oscar Skeletons in the Closet. We talk about the bad horror movies made by Oscar nominees. That's always a very fun one.
Right, that'll be in the studio.
Mm-hmm. And then our next live is going to be Hagazusa.
Ooh.
This is such a great
It
movie.
really is. Talk about a slow burn.
Yeah,
and this
but-
is one that it's so quiet, and there's just not much dialogue in it at all, really. But man, it's so effective.
It's just gut punch after gut punch.
Yeah.
And the truth is, I haven't decided what our topic is yet because there are like three. There are three that I really want to do, but two of them give away too many things. And so what'll probably be drug use. That's probably going to be the topic, is drug use in horror
Okay.
movies. But also, 2 weeks from today, we're going to be back out here. We're not going to be doing a podcast, but we are going to be doing a Fright Club happy hour because the Gateway Film Center is bringing back one of our all-time absolutely favorite movies ever. We've shown it twice in Fright Club, and they've got a 4K restoration of Calvaire, which you cannot get anywhere else.
Yeah.
Please come see it. We're going to come see it. So that's 2 weeks from today. We're going to come out here. We'll have some beers. We'll come in. We'll watch the weirdest dance sequence in the history of film.
Yep. And then we'll
look for Bella. We'll shout for Bella.
We'll have a dance party.
We'll have a dance party. So do that. And if you're not doing anything on Sunday, we're going to be at the Upper Arlington Public Library. We're going to be giving our Oscar predictions and then watching for your consideration. I almost said Best in Show.
The mockumentary from Christopher Guest about the whole Oscar process, which is hilarious.
Yep. So that is, I think, everything.
I think that is everything. All right, so we'll get this podcast all edited up and out to the socials here in the next few days. And of course, you can always find us at madwolf.com, on Twitter, it's Fright Club Pod. We've got the Fright Club Podcast Facebook group. We've got Mad Wolf Columbus on Facebook and Instagram. It's, we'll come find you, basically, is what I'm saying.
You know, one other thing, if you haven't yet, seek out Happy Family, Happy Home. Our friend Tyrone Russell has this absolutely badass puppet show. She's going to give you some tips from the 1920s, 30s, and 40s about how to keep your family and your home happy. It's hilarious. It's very bizarre and weird.
And after you watch all the episodes, we'll be forming a Mrs. Heap support group.
Yes, we will.
That will be meeting once a week. All right, so all that's coming up. Hope you enjoy the film. Come down and talk about it afterwards. We thank you so much for coming out. And until next time, she is Hope Madden.
He's George Wolf.
And this is the Fright Club Podcast.
Stay frightful, my friends.
Roll it, Stan. We'll talk to you after.